Welcome to the follow-up to my short ship review of the Mustang Alpha, where I'll be going over my personal recommendations for weaponry, shields, quantum drives, and more for the ship. I'll be offering several suggestions for each option, as well as explaining my reasoning behind each choice. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing to support me and my channel. Also, check out the description for a link to my Discord to chat with me and my community about everything Star Citizen. Now then, we've got a lot to cover, so let's jump right in. Let's talk about weaponry first. The first thing you're going to want to do is head to any dumper's depot or center mass and pick up two size 1 gimbals. You'll want to equip these on the wing mounts of your Mustang. Since these weapons can only be size 1, it's better to have them gimbaled to make it easier to hit things. Next up, we'll be replacing our weapons. The Alpha comes standard with twin gimbaled M4A laser cannons. Decent, but we can do better. Because the Mustang Alpha has such limited weapon hardpoints, you will find yourself struggling to break the shields of tougher ships, like the Valkyrie, with laser weapons. Instead, we'll be using ballistic weapons, which will allow us to damage ship through their shields, at the expense of needing to resupply with ammo more often. Ballistic weapons also have less of a signature than laser weapons, making them perfect for a stealthy build. Head to the weapons shop at HER L3 or HER L4 and pick up two size 2 Scorpion GT215 ballistic Gatlings for 7,850 UEC each, as well as two size 1 Yellow Jacket GT210 ballistic Gatlings for 4,600 UEC each at HER L4 or HER L5. This should give you a sustained DPS of 1,063 at an effective range of about 1,700 meters. It's not a lot of DPS, but it's what we have to work with due to the minimal hardpoints on this ship. Shields is where things get interesting for this ship. Depending if you want to focus on your ship's stealth capacity or not, there are a few different options we'll be looking at. The Mustang comes standard with twin, civilian, grade D ink shield generators, which are pretty terrible, so we will definitely be replacing them. The first option is for maximum shield strength. Head to Port Olisar, Crew L1, or New Babbage, and buy two military grade A FR66 shield generators for 18,450 UEC each. These are the beefiest shields available for this class of ship, giving a max shield capacity of 12,240, which recharges by 612 per second. The second option is for stealth shield generators. While far less beefy, these shields will give you a much lower radar signature. Available at HER L2 and New Babbage, the stealth grade A Mirage shield generators are pretty pricey, at 28,600 UEC each. They also only give you about half the shielding, at only 6,120 maximum shield capacity. However, they do charge a little faster, at 648 per second on a shorter delay, and aside from being whisper quiet, also require far less cooling and power. Speaking of power, let's take a look at the power plant we'll be using. The Alpha comes standard with a civilian grade D Zapjet power plant, which we will want to replace ASAP. Once again, I have options for both combat and stealth-focused builds. If you are using FR66 shields, you will definitely want to pick up the military grade A JS300 power plant to deal with their large power draw. These can be purchased at Grimhex, HER L2, and New Babbage for 19,700 UEC. Providing 3,681 power per second, it can easily deal with the loads your beefier shields will put on your power supply. If you're going for a stealth build though, you can opt for the much quieter stealth grade A Slipstream power plant. It only provides 1,788 power per second, but that is more than enough to easily run your stealth components. Now let's take a look at coolers, which is where things get a little complicated. There's no true best cooler here, as a lot of them have their benefits and drawbacks, and we can even combine them in certain ways for even better results. I'll offer a few suggestions, as well as how to combine certain options effectively. First off, let's look at the competition Grade B Zero Rush. Available at Crew L4, Crew L5, Her L2, Port Tressler, Mick L1, and New Babbage for 16,150 UEC. This cooler has an incredibly fast draw request time at only 3 seconds. While it provides an appreciable amount of cooling on its own, we can combine this cooler with other coolers to make use of that lightning fast draw time. The second one I'd like to highlight is the Industrial Grade A Ultraflow, which provides the highest amount of cooling for a cooler of this size. Available at Crew L4 and New Babbage for 27,550 UEC, it's a little on the pricey side, but it makes an excellent combo with the Zero Rush. The faster cooler starts cooling almost immediately, giving your components some cooling, while the slower but much beefier Ultraflow spools up and starts dumping buckets of cooling. Finally, the Stealth Grade A Snowblind cooler is going to be your best option for a stealth build. Available at Grimhex, Bajini Point, and New Babbage for 12,850 UEC, it's the cheapest of the coolers I highlighted here. It also provides the least cooling and has a pretty slow draw time, but uses barely any power and is extremely quiet. You can also pair this cooler with one Zero Rush for some quicker cooling draw for only a little extra signature, though even just 2 of these should provide plenty of cooling for the silent running stealth components you're using. Components are only effective if you're able to use them, though, and to use your components, you've got to get where you need to go. That's where the quantum drive comes in. This component is a little special in that it doesn't affect your signature at all unless it's powered on, making stealth drives a bit useless. So, any of the drives I mentioned here will work perfectly fine in either a stealth or a combat build. First off, the fastest drive on the market, the Military Grade A VK00, available at Grimhex, Arc L1, and New Babbage for 43,300 UEC. This drive is as expensive as it is blisteringly fast, going 283,000 kilometers per second. You paid the price for the fastest drive in the verse with an extreme gas guzzler. You'll get to where you're going stupidly fast, sure, but your range will suffer quite a bit. Don't expect to be jumping between planetary systems. So you want to maximize range, do you? Then I've got the drive for you, the Competition Grade C Lightfire. Available at Grimhex, Her L1, Her L2, and Bajini Point for only 26,450 UEC, it is the most fuel-efficient drive of its size. You'll be able to make a lot of jumps between refuels, as long as you don't mind it taking you a while to get anywhere, as it crawls along at around 89,000 kilometers per second. Which is where this third drive comes in, the Civilian Grade A Atlas. Available at Port Olisar and Her L5 for only 17,900 UEC, not only is this the cheapest drive on the list, but also gives the best of both worlds. A reasonably fast jump speed at around 152,000 kilometers per second, nearly double that of the Lightfire, but far more fuel efficient than the VK00. This drive is a fantastic middle ground, and is the drive I personally recommend for almost any ship of this class. Please remember that while these are my personal recommendations of what to put on your Mustang Alpha, this is by no means the perfect way to equip this ship. You are free to experiment with what you like to use on your ships, and build them however you like to suit your personal playstyle. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like so I know to make more videos like this in the future. If you have any recommendations for ships I should take a look at next, please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.